1 week till Daytona Beach Bike Week 2026. I'm pretty excited, but in today's video we're actually going to talk about the dark side of Bike Week. Whether you've been there before or not, you're excited or not, there are some things you really need to be aware of that I don't think a lot of people are talking about. So we're going to get into it in this video. I've got my 2021 Street Glide Special. We're going to hop on it and talk about it a little bit more. That's how we do it here. By the way, I do have some Daytona t-shirts still available. We're pretty low on quantity. Also, you've got about a week, so you might want to check shipping to see if you can get it, but I'll put the design up here, the t-shirt. A pretty cool design. If you want to check it out, go ahead. I've got the link below the video. Anyway, it's my brand, Iron Coast. I've had the brand for 4 or 5 months now. So a little something I work on the side. If you're interested in supporting, that's great. If not, that's cool too. But with that said, we're gonna jump on the Gold bike and get into today's topic.
Weather check, we've got about 72 degrees tonight. So I wore my lighter Harley-Davidson retro, I call it a prison jacket. I like the style of it. Got a little hood on it. Pretty good windbreaker. I'm on my way to Hope's house. Probably gonna get something to eat, some dinner. We'll see if she wants to say hi a little bit later when we get there. But Daytona Beach Bike Week, the Super Bowl of all bike events. Daytona Beach. Ever since I was a kid, I heard about Daytona Beach Bike Week. And I live in the Tampa area, Clearwater, so we've got about a 4-hour-ish ride over there. It could be a little less, but I like to take back roads and play it safe. Some of the back roads are really nice riding, and that brings me to the first piece of it. And one thing about Daytona, it's not as much of an active riding type of rally. And you're talking about, I don't know the exact numbers, hundreds of thousands of bikes and visitors over the week. And you imagine the amount of traffic that causes. And you couple that with the fact that in Daytona, there's only a couple ways in and a couple ways out to that beach peninsula. There's not a lot of riding. I'm just going to say it straight up. Not a lot of good riding at Daytona Beach Bike Rally. And before I share my thoughts, let me know what you think about that, because a lot of people like to go to rallies to find new roads to ride and enjoy the scenery. I'm telling you right now, you don't get that experience in Daytona unless you were to wake up extremely early. I think there is a loop that people take, so you have that option. But don't expect a Sturgis style scenic ride. Yeah, you're a block away from the beach, but most of Daytona Rally is focused on Main Street. You do have a couple of other areas you can go to. There's Teddy Moore's dealership. I think even the dealership in Orlando serves as like that halfway point. They've got some events going on. But for the most part, that Main Street, Teddy Moore's, and the Speedway, those are your top 3 areas, with some decent bars and some fun events going on all around that. But you're not going to be riding more than a few lights without stopping and going, and a lot of traffic. It really is kind of a bummer if you're looking to ride, which I think a lot of people are, especially considering how winter has been in the northern region of this country. It's been a long winter. I know if you're watching, there's a likelihood if you're in the north, you might even still have snow out of your window. So it's a real thing. And you're excited to get down here. You want to ride, but it's not a lot of riding. It really isn't. You probably have a better ride on the way here. So I wanted to call that out. And I'm not making this video to be negative, but I wanted to share more the realistic side of Bike Week, because you see like the burnouts and all the bikini competitions and all the good and fun stuff. But there really are things that you want to consider. If you like to ride and you're only planning on going to 1 or 2 events this year, Daytona probably isn't the one. It's more of most people that go, they want to find a parking spot on Main Street, sit by their bike, and watch people ride up and down Main Street. And the first time you do it, it's pretty cool riding up and down Main Street, at least once. It's cool, but after you ride it once, it's kind of like, okay, well, that's it. People taking videos, and you feel good. You hear the bikes all with their loud engines. It's a cool atmosphere at first, until things kind of you start to notice, like, okay, it's not like a rider's event. And if you disagree with me, feel free to weigh in the comments down below. But I think most people will probably be in line with that. I mean, I've been 5 or 6 years, and you get a lot of the same things. And then as we talk about going up and down Main Street, you've probably seen the videos. I mean, Cycle Drag's really good at posting content just about every minute of every day down there. I swear that guy's got like 6 or 7 phones he uses to record people. But the police presence is really serious and heavy there. And I've been approached by police, even though I'm wearing a full face helmet, which I do most of the time. If I have my visor up, I'll get yelled at. They'll tell you to put your visor down, or you need sunglasses. Meanwhile, the guy in front of me with the big wheel revving his motor and a backwards hat and sunglasses is just fine. So if you wear a helmet, they're going to get on you if you don't have the visor down. You just don't want to give them an excuse to give you a ticket, because this has to be a major revenue driver for the city. It's crazy. So make sure your bike's legal and you have your endorsement, because I'm telling you, they'll impound your bike. I see it happen every year. They will impound your bike, and then you're gonna have a shit show to deal with, especially if you live far away. You don't want to deal with all that stuff. So if your registration isn't up to snuff, get that figured out. You got about a week now to get to the DMV, so make sure you set your appointment. But the cops don't play down there. Yes, I do support police, but it's at the point where it really is like they're writing tickets to get money for the city. You also can't rev excessively, so if you want to be that guy and show off your loud exhaust and rev your motor nonstop, you're going to get a ticket for that. Obviously, should go without saying, wheelies and burnouts on Main Street, you're definitely going to get a ticket, if not arrested. So take it from me, get all your stuff in order, and if you want to play around on your bike, Main Street ain't the place to do it, and most of the Daytona spots are heavily policed. So remember, these guys are working overtime, and they want to keep everybody safe, but at the same time, they also want to drive that revenue for the city. And hey, I'm just calling it how it is. Nothing against the cops out there. I get you got to do what you got to do. But realistically, that's what's going on down there with the police presence. Just being honest. And not only are you going to pay a premium if you end up getting a ticket, but if you like to go out and have yourself a good time and drink at the bars, park on Main Street or off Main Street if you can't find a spot, because I'll tell you, if you don't show up early in the morning on a weekend, it's very likely you're not going to have a parking spot on the Main Street strip, which is free. So Everywhere else around there charges to park. I know everybody likes to ride, but if you have a hotel even close, just walk or Uber, especially if you're going to be drinking. All the parking around there, they're going to charge you, and it's usually cash, so make sure you have a lot of cash with you. Yes, even the bars, most of them cash only. So bring a ton of cash, but it's expensive. The drinks are overpriced. The parking's overpriced. The food is overpriced. You're gonna pay a lot for what you get. So if you got a hotel, take care of that Uber. Maybe stop at the grocery store on the way down. Get yourself some supplies, because you're gonna pay for it. Everything is more expensive than it needs to be. So the expenses is something major. And please do not drink and ride your bike. That should go without saying. But if you think you're even close to being on the edge, just get an Uber or walk home to your hotel for the night. Please do not hurt yourself or anyone else. As someone who rides frequently, I don't drink. And I'm just saying, please, I don't need to get in an accident at the expense of someone who made the decision to drink. So if you're going to do that, please, there's so many options out there today. Take advantage of that Uber. You probably saw what happened last Biketoberfest, but there was a guy who got on a bike inebriated. Unfortunately, it was caught on camera, and he didn't make it, got in an accident, hurt some other people. So it's real. Just don't drink and drive, or don't drink and ride, please. You have a ton of people who are not experienced riders. They're all in close quarters, fender to fender on Main Street, riding around, people showing off bikes. And I don't want to talk too much shit, but a lot of these guys and gals, they don't ride year round, and this is the first time they're going to be riding in some time. Maybe there's some cobwebs to work out, but the experience level is all over the place. And if you've ever been on a group ride, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You can control you on a bike, but you get a couple hundred bikes, 1,000 bikes in a short or small window. It's recipe for disaster. I've seen people drop their bikes, crash into others. And even last year, I remember I was behind somebody. She was riding a fat boy, a newer fat boy, and I could tell before we even turned on Main Street, she wasn't drunk, but she had no business being in control of that motorcycle. And as soon as she made that left-hand turn onto Main Street, she dropped that bike in front of everybody. Of course, most people's reaction, pull out their phones and record. But I saw it, so I didn't follow her too close. And just remember that the person in front or behind you could have absolutely zero business being on a motorcycle. And I talk about, you know, them guys that have bikes that they trailer them, right? Those custom choppers, and some of these builds, whether you like them or not, I'm not a big, you know, big wheel guy, and the crazy sound systems. Like, I don't care as much about that stuff. I like the older choppers a lot, and the performance now. But what a spectacle Daytona can be. You got some of the craziest shit you will ever see in your damn life on 2 wheels and 3 wheels. You know, thankfully they got rid of the Polaris slingshots being allowed on Main Street, which is, I think, awesome, because I hate those things. They are not motorcycles. And if you drive one, I don't know how. Every guy I see riding or driving one, whatever you call it, I'm like, it's impossible to look cool on a slingshot. And I'm sure there's some good people that have slingshots, but goddamn, I'm like, I don't want to ride a slingshot, even though it'd be fun, just because how do you not look like a douche driving a slingshot? But anyway, you got the other big 3-wheelers there, some boss hosses that have, you know, V8 engines and all this crazy stuff. you're going to see a lot of spectacle. So it's more of like a moving bike show than a motorcycle rally. You know, it's not all bad. You get past all that stuff. It is really cool. I talk a lot of trash, but it's really cool to see the different builds and the styles of bikes. I think that's what motorcycles are all about. So I'll talk shit on big wheels and stuff. Hey, that's a culture, and if you're into it, that's your thing. And that's the great thing about riding motorcycles. You can build however the heck you want. You probably see the Gucci chopper featured on Cycle Drag, which I think is a monstrosity and a piece of trash. But one man's trash is another man's treasure. So whatever, it doesn't bother me. Do your thing, man. That's how I feel about it. So it's cool to see all the bikes. There are some really cool events during the day. I think even there's some stunt shows now. You got the East Coasting guys out there. I think Brian 636 last year had a Pan America Harley sponsor him, riding this thing around and doing all his cool tricks right by the speedway. So you're seeing a lot of this YouTube culture and social media culture come in, and it's really interesting to see how that meshes with a lot of the old heads who, you know, they just like the choppers. They like, you know, just sitting there on Main Street. It's more of an old school vibe with this new school coming up. So definitely a culture phenomenon that plays into the spectacle, is you don't know what the heck you're going to get. And sometimes when those things collide, it can be a recipe for, you know, negative confrontations. Now, I haven't seen any kind of crazy fights. You probably saw there was an altercation at a gas station last year, but I think that gas station was a little further out of Daytona. They still said Daytona Beach, but like it wasn't technically in Daytona, so it doesn't really count. But in my experience, for the most part, in the early evening hours and day, everyone gets along. Just be mindful at night. You live in Florida, or you're in Florida. Florida, you can open carry, you can conceal carry, and I am willing to bet most of these guys out here at the bike rallies, they're carrying. So just be aware. It ain't worth starting something when your life can end. That's all I'm saying. But in my experiences, I've had some great times. You know, if you are going, definitely check out Froggy's on Main Street. That's like a bar everybody sort of likes to visit. I like, what is it, the Broken Spoke. It's really cool. It's a little closer to Teddy Morse. The Teddy Morse area, there's a lot of vendors and those types of things. If you want to check them out, you can check out some new products. You can pull your bike up to a lot of these places. They'll do installs for really cheap, if not free. It's a great way to upgrade your bike if you want like a bigger wheel, if you want some accessories. All these different brands are there. And then also the Speedway, they'll do that stuff. You can also test ride some bikes, although I think for the test rides they do require you to have a helmet, so be aware of that. You might want to ride around with a helmet. Most people that I see forgo the helmet in Daytona. I know you're riding slow, but please be aware there are still many accidents out there, and you never know what could happen. So overall, look, things to be aware of. If you haven't been there, just consider it, keep it in your mind as you're planning things out. But let me know if you are planning to be there. I do know that Hope and I are riding out on Friday, that first Friday, and we're staying through Sunday. So Friday to Sunday, we will be posting on social media where we're at and kind of like our plans. So keep in touch with that. Obviously, we've got the YouTubes. Hope has her Hope on a Harley. We'll be doing a lot of shorts and that type of content there. And then we do have Instagram as well. Hit me up on Instagram at @BrandonHart_. And that's usually where I can post stories and more like short form type of stuff if you want to keep up to it. I'm going to try to post the day after each time, but we'll see how that works out. Anyway, I'm headed to Hope's house right now. that's it for the Daytona portion of the video. I'm going to get Hope's thoughts in a couple minutes. If you want to stand by, we're going to say hi, and I'm sure she wants to say what's up.
We've made it, and honestly,
You've made it.
Me and
Oh, you and
yeah, Chick-fil-A. I mean, can you really beat it?
milkshake.
You got me one too? Mm-hmm. Cookies and cream?
Because I'm so nice.
Well, thank you. Hope's
You know,
sick,
be hungry.
obviously. She's sick, so hopefully she can get better soon. But Hope's having some technical difficulties.
Seriously.
I think we're just going to end the video. Just say hi.
Hi.
Hopefully we can...
I'll be better by
Actually, she's going to do a 3-hole oil change.
the whole thing.
The whole thing, she says, on
By myself.
my street glide before we go to Daytona. So that's what she says.
You'll see.
We'll see.
You'll see.
Thanks for watching. Keep the rubber side down.
Bye.
Thanks for being part of it. I wish her better because, you know, let's hope she's not sick for Daytona. Bye. Peace.